Welcome to the Writing Community Chat Show. Hello everybody, it is Friday! Yoo-hoo! We've made it to the end of the week, Chris, and it only seems very recently like it was the Wednesday show, which was fantastic. Dahl Roberts was on the show. Great guest. Very knowledgeable, full of fantastic tips about writing.
He was one of those guests that he just sort of brings up the energy in the room. Like he was going off on a tangent with all these little voices and everything. And obviously he was very knowledgeable as well. So that was really fun.
Oh, incredibly knowledgeable. I mean, I wasn't joking last Wednesday when I said about how he helped me into the self-publishing world just as much as the writing community did. So definitely check that out if you haven't checked it out. We've got a great show coming up for you guys, so please stick around. And second half of the show, really emphasizing this now, the interactive part of this show. Make sure you have a question ready for our guest. And when we say writing community question time later on, drop them in and we will share them on screen. And you can ask the question yourself. You know, as good it is for us to ask questions, get involved. So hello to you on the chat. Hello to you if you listen to this on the podcast. Wherever you may be listening or watching, hello. We appreciate you. Thank you for being part of the show. And you may have seen on Twitter this week, we said that there may be some enormous news coming your way from the show. This is something me and Chris have been working on very hard. If it does become something, you will definitely know about it, and it's going to be fantastic. But we will have details of that moving forward. So sorry to be a tease, but excited. But hello to you all. Thank you on the chat. So Chris, how's your week been?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was slightly disappointed by that description of what you just said. Me and Chris are working hard, and then you were like, and it could be a good thing.
It is amazing.
I was like, come on, big it up. Like, it's
all right, big it up. It's probably one of the most proudest things I've ever done. And it is unbelievable how it will literally help people and launch their careers and invest back in the writing community.
That was better. Yeah, I'll give you that.
All right, cool.
But yeah, we're at the end of the week. Half term for a lot of people, which is amazing. So all the parents out there who are homeschooling their kids at the moment, you got a week off. Woo-hoo. Like you literally, you don't have to interact with your kid at all this week. You can put them in the garden now. Like you've done your job.
just lock them out somewhere. Put them in the bedroom, close the door, or the garage, or wherever they want to go, and then just a week later, make sure they're up for school or whatever they need to do.
Or relation to the guest, put them in a cupboard, give them a notepad, and say, "Crack on and be a writer."
Absolutely. I mean, what's better, a better time now than to become creative? Give them a webcam. Why not? We started a YouTube channel. I'm sure they could. The kids these days are way better than we are. Okay. No more Zoom for a week, says Anya on the chat. Yeah, fantastic. So, Chris, be a token book promotion on it this week. Yep. This again is by a guest of ours. Back definitely from season 1. This guest, Ash Knight.
Season 1 guest. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
She was on our Writing Community Festival in season 1, which we haven't done for a long time. And do you know what? In March or April, we will be doing another Writing Community Festival focused very much on the indie world. So that's breaking news for you guys. But look out for the details of that. So Ash Knight's book, The Gravity of Shooting Stars, which is a great title. It has 4.7 out of 5 after 8 ratings. It's a fun, quirky, new adult romance with some talk of past abuse, a great love story, and guaranteed HEA. Chris, any idea what that means?
I'm not going to lie, I read that as IKEA. When it across the bottom. So, no, I honestly don't know.
I don't think it's IKEA instructions in the book, which would be a new thing, right? It'd be maybe promotional.
Yeah, anyway, be quite helpful that, but no, I have no idea. I mean, I could guess, but I wouldn't want to.
If anyone watching or listening knows what HEA is, please leave us in the comments and enlighten us, because we're kind of stupid. So thanks. So that is available on Kindle and paperback. And the story goes, Håkan Larsson has spent her life in the shadows, blending in, hiding in plain sight, she becomes a master at being alone. But now she's starting college away from home, it's time for her to step into the light. This is the story. This is a part of a review as well. This is the story of Hawkin, the broken girl that can't see her own worth, and Henry, the boy who seems to have it all, but is carrying his own internal pain, and how they fall in love. So it's a bit of a romance story about overcoming sort of a dark past between in their own personal stories. So it sounds like one of those kind of, I guess, happy ending book, Chris, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, happy ending would work with the H-E, but I'm struggling with the A, to be honest.
Yeah. Hello to you guys. Love Ash's book. So there's already some good. Oh, thank you. Anya has enlightened us, as has Chelsea. Happily Ever After.
See, I was close. I got a happy ending, but then I couldn't
well,
think of the A.
That's a different type of book, Chris.
Yeah.
But, you know, well done. Please support the authors that support the show. Have a look at that book. The links are in the description. And it does sound fantastic, so please check it out. Thank you, Ash, for supporting us. And it goes a long way because this show would not exist without you people. So
for it to appear.
You'll have to wait a little bit longer, Chris, because I've got to upload that. Uno second. So, yes, Ash, thank you. And there the cover is. Chris, you can look.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah, it's very nice. And it's a great title. So, tonight's guest. Are you excited, Chris?
I am excited. I'm currently reading this person's book. I've not quite finished it. I've started it 2 days ago and I've nearly finished it, but I was reading other things in the process. But it's amazing. I know we're only a little tiny bit into the year, but I would go as far to say as it's probably going to be one of the best books of the year.
Wow, that is a statement. Yeah, there's a lot of references to what this book is like, or this person's writing's like. So, very interested to get into that, and let's get it done, because let's welcome the guest. Tonight we have a best-selling author of Witness X, once reviewed of Silence of the Lambs meets Blade Runner.
I'm going to change that because I've heard it before. She said it's Silence of the Lambs meets Minority Report, and that is much more accurate.
Well, I might want to update Amazon. But yeah, that either way, both of those things, that's an incredible statement. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Sarah Moorhead. Hello to you.
Hello. Thank you for having me on. Nice to see you both.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and we are very grateful to have you on. And first things first, how are you doing? You all well and good?
I'm over the moon because, like Chris, I've been teaching all week and it is half term, so I am feeling chilled out. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It must be a nice feeling.
It's great because it means next week I can write all week instead of having to juggle, teaching and homeschooling and writing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's next week like a mad week for you? Are you one of these writers that will try and cram everything in the half terms when you're free, or will you do bits when?
Well, do you know what I'm actually doing? I don't know if you do this yourself, but I'm doing the complete read through from the beginning right to the end, just to give it a structural, thorough go over, make sure everything's consistent. There's still quite a bit of work to do, and I'm in about 80,000 words in. But the first half's nice and tight. The second half is a vomit draft. It's all blur. So that really needs some handling. But if I give it a good go over the whole thing, then by the time I've done that, I'll feel more secure about where I'm going.
Fantastic. So you are from Liverpool?
Yes, can you tell? I think it's a lovely mix of accents tonight.
Not at all.
Welsh and the what is yours, Chris? Is it Lancashire or Chris Hooley?
No, I'm from Manchester, but I try and hide it because
it's posh Manchester.
Yeah, definitely.
I could go into Liam Gallagher, but I'm not going to do that.
So is it very cold up there right now? Because it seems to be bloody freezing in the
Well,
UK.
let me tell you, I've just been outside the chippy just to fulfill a Scouse stereotype, because they threw us out while we had to wait outside, and it was -1, and I was out there for half an hour. So it's fresh. It's fresh, yeah.
It certainly is fresh in the UK, and from some of the photos we have in from the American audience and our friends on Twitter, we can't complain because they are like 6-7 foot deep in snow weeks on end. And as much as we love a snow day in the UK, it kind of snows and then disappears 2 days later. So
I would like a bit of snow, though. I would like a little bit. We haven't got much. But Liverpool's on a port, and so we're quite warm in some respects. So we don't get the snow.
Amazing. So the first thing we love to do on this show with a new guest is to find out why writing is something in their life. completely at all, and where it came from and what the inspirations were. So can we have a bit of a backstory about that, please?
Sure. So, well, I'm very lucky because my mum read to me every day when I was a child, and we had a little library each in our own bedrooms, and we loved stories. So then I'm going to say a lot. I do notice when I'm like chatting away, I say I apologise. I'm obsessed with stories. I think stories at the heart are what it means to be human. I think that our brains are totally wired for narrative, and the way we live our lives and our memories and our hopes and our dreams, that it's all stories. So I've been obsessed with stories forever. And I went into teaching, and after a couple of years, I thought, this job is so hard. I can't do this till I retire. What else could I possibly do? And when I looked into the heart of myself, I said, I'm a writer, because I've written stories ever since I could actually put pen to paper. And the first one I wrote, that was kind of what I remember, was a rip-off of Noel Coward's Blithe Spirit. Because when I was coming home from Wales on holiday, we heard the play on the radio, and I was absolutely blown away by the ghosts and the comedy and the excitement. And so I came home and I got my felt tips out and I folded up some paper and I wrote a horribly ripped off version of it in my 10-year-old mind. And then I kind of put stories away then for a while. I wasn't too well as a teenager. I have anxiety disorder, which is brilliant for a writer in lots of ways, because the way you see the world and the things you experience, they can all add to your story. And I also, I find that writing brings my anxiety levels down. So as I reduce my stress, I like to induce it in other people. And that's why I write thrillers, because I think, where writing helps me to calm down. I like to get people's blood pumping when they read my stories. Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to make a tedious link here between felt tips and childhood, because you showed us something that was absolutely amazing before we came on air, which is reference to both felt tips and childhood.
It is. There we go. Now, I don't know, it's quite hard to see, but that is a Christmas card from Roald Dahl from when I was 7. So my lovely mum sent me a blank Christmas card and said, please, can you sign this for my little girl Sarah? And I've had it in my desk ever since, in green, sort of an olive green pen. I can imagine him in his shed picking out a pen from his pot, the shed he used to write in, and signing it for me. And it's just, even now, it just feels so special to have that.
Yeah, I can just imagine him like licking the end of the felt tip, like dried up a bit in his shed, and then he's writing his
absolutely, yeah.
Did you have like a favorite story of his then when you were growing up, or just like favorite stories in general that you can really remember, that sort of like visualized, like in your mind, you just went to sleep thinking about, and then obviously as an adult and someone who writes thinks back to those sort of stories as the first sort of inspiration?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I'm just a major fan of Roald Dahl. I love The Magic Finger. I love Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love the sort of the structures he actually uses really quite tight structures on his things. He's also very dark for a children's writer. But I also was quite obsessed with ghosts, and I had this Osborne book of hauntings that I must have read every single night for about 5 years. And that I've still got that, actually. It's absolutely battered. But so I like to read about ghosts, and I like to read Roald Dahl, and I like to read. There was a great book, I think it was called Simon and the Witch. And I had it when I was about 8, and my mum came in one night and she said, "What are you laughing about?" And whatever was in this book, it had me absolutely roaring. So I've always respected books and thought there's a lot in them, isn't there? They're really magical. They're portals to other worlds. They're very, very special.
They really are. And from a lot of people on the chat have mentioned, since you talked about how your anxiety was helped by writing, they've all said that they agree, and writing's their safe space, and it helps people get out of that sort of mindset, and the escapism is something that's very valuable in writing. So I think it's something we should definitely look at more, and especially with you guys working with children a lot, it's really powerful. It's a very powerful tool.
So Sarah, one of my questions is, when you ripped off that play on the way back from Wales and you wrote it down, you thought, this is amazing. When did you realize that you were just copying works and writing them down? And then when was that flip to, right, I'm a serious writer now. I'm going to write my own things, and I'm going to put my own stamp on it. When was that transition for you?
Well, this is interesting again because again, I'll go back to the anxiety and I'll go back to Roald Dahl, which is quite funny. So say I and you know what's it's really odd in one way talking about anxiety because I'm a bit older than you guys as well, and when we were younger, it wasn't something you talk about. But I just accepted now that you just got to be who you are, and that's who I am, and that's part of my makeup. So I don't mind talking about it, and I do think what's wonderful is that so many other people relate to it, and it gives them strength to know that it's something that people can go through. Anyway, so when I was a young teenager, it got really bad, and so I didn't actually read or write for about 7 years. The only thing I would write in is my journal, just to to cope with things. And then when I was 20, I got the 50 Tales of the Unexpected, the Roald Dahl book, 50 Tales of the Unexpected. And I'd finally learned, I'd gotten medication at that stage. And so I was feeling a lot better and coping a lot more and had the tools to cope more. And I read this book and it just brought everything back and just reminded me of what I love and where my passions are and who I was. Now, I was in the staff room, as I said, and I thought, I must have been about 23, 24. I said, God, I can't do this job. What am I? I'm a writer. Anyway, that year I taught a boy, he was 16, and he wrote short stories and he brought them to show me. And I was just amazed by these stories, And with the poor lad, unfortunately, he had a breakdown himself and he ended up, because he smoked a lot of weed and it triggered schizophrenia and he had to go into hospital for a while, and we became really good friends and we're still friends now. But he almost brought out of me something that had been really hidden for a long time and made me want to write again. And I realized, I don't think it matters how old you are. I really don't think it matters how old you are. I think storytelling is in you. It's in you. If you've suddenly decided to become a writer today, then forget about it, because you would have known all along that there was something in you that was a writer. You would have known all along. So unless you're digging something out that's already there, then I wonder if you really are a writer. Is that very harsh to say?
I'm not sure. Do you know what I think about when you look at musical artists as well? There's a lot of sort of depression in a lot of musical artists, that very creative people have that sort of side of them, that they look to the dark side and they become a lot more creative. Do you think that's a link with writers the same way?
I think our brains work slightly differently. I think it's a neurological difference, which people, when you look at secondary school, as Chris will know, it's very institutionalized, it's very strict, it's very for the masses, and people like myself and people who are creative aren't always catered for, and in sixth form, because I said I went on to do teaching, and I studied theology in university. Again, stories, structures in the Bible and the stories and whatever, and that was fascinating, and I'm really glad I did it, and I'm really glad I taught. But I wonder if I'd had good careers advice back in sixth form. Would I have studied journalism? Would I have studied creative writing? But nobody looked for those things, and nobody saw those things. That it was something you have to dig out yourself, because it's, especially because there's not always money in the creative arts. And so, yeah, I think I'm slightly neurologically different. And that means that I've got a lot of energy in my brain. And that is not because I'm wrong or I'm weird or I'm not well. It's because I need to be creating. And as Kafka said, a non-writing writer is a monster causing insanity.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
I have to apologize to everyone, because when you were telling your story about a young boy bringing you these short stories, I laughed at a moment that I thought you were setting up a joke, because you said this young boy was bringing, this 16-year-old was bringing me these short stories, and I was reading them, and it brought the sort of spark back. And you said, unfortunately, and I thought you were going to say he went on to be a best-selling author. That's why I laughed.
Are you thinking of Stu Turton? Are you thinking of Stu Turton?
That's what I thought.
Do you know how annoying?
And then when you said, when you said, then he went on to be hospitalised. I was like, oh my God, I just left.
We all think you're scum, Chris. You just No. Well, the reason why, Chris, I think you preempted me talking about the wonderful Stu Turton, who I taught in Witness as well. We often joke about Witness X instead of Witness X. And he's only about 10 years younger than me. But when we met up, because when we were following each other on Twitter for a while, and I'm like, I know the name Turton. I mean, I knew Stu'd written the book. I know the name Turton. It rings a bell. It sounds very Viking to me. And Widnes, the Vikings were all over Widnes. It means the wide nose of the. We always do that. That's Widnes in sign language. Did you know that? And it's not because it smells, even though the chemical smell can be outrageous. It's because it means the wide nose of the River Mersey, which is from the Viking language. Anyway, I digress. Spot the teacher. So Stu's only about 10 years younger than me. So I must have been quite a fresh teacher, fresh out of the box, about 26. He was in sixth form. And they have to do, because it was Catholic school, and you have to do RE once a week. And, Widnes is only about 6 miles away from us, but they're very suspicious of outsiders. It took a while for them to warm to me. And then he dedicated one of his copies of The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle to me, and just said, you told me once, miss, that RE wasn't about prayers. It was about, who we are as people and what we owe other people and how we live our lives and what are the bigger questions. And he says, I don't have any answers, but all those questions have stayed with me. And they all came out in this book. And I just want to thank you. Wow. And I mean, just imagine how that would feel to, because as I said, I've taught now. There was little me in the staff room going, well, I can't do this. And like 25 years later, I'm still doing it. I don't know how. I said to my pal, if I would have killed a kid on, in the day one, I would have been out 10 years ago on license. It's being that much hard graft. But little moments like that, where somebody like Stu has run with the ball that you gave him, it just makes you feel like you really did something important that you didn't know about until now. So it was just really good.
So Sarah, obviously you're a very caring person and you care a lot about the students that you come into contact with. When did you decide, look, I need to focus on me and I need to focus on my writing as well as doing that? And then when you decided to start taking writing seriously, how did you approach that path and that different sort of platform? Obviously you got a full-time job and stuff as well.
Well, not now, because when I had my youngest son, Tig, Tig's an Irish name, means a philosopher or a storyteller. And my husband's a philosopher, and it's an Irish name. We call him Baby Tiger. So that was 10 years ago. And women in maternity leave, it's really creative. Your mind's just full of ideas, and the oxytocin's flowing, and you just feel great, right? So I wrote this book in about 9 months when I had the wee one at home. And it was that moment that I felt confident enough that I found myself, really. I found my own voice, and I found the sort of books I wanted to write. So I negotiated with the husband, and he's so supportive. And he said, well, go back to work 3 days a week instead of 5. And it has actually taken that long to really to get to where I wanted to be. If we had the money, I would go full time, because I think if you want to make money out of writing, you have to pump out a book at least every 18 months. But for me, at the moment, it's 2.5 years, just because, I've got other responsibilities.
So obviously Witness X has got a lot of sci-fi sort of elements to it, but it's essentially a crime novel. So what attracted you to writing crime? What was it about crime that you decided to sort of tackle?
Well, I grew up in an Irish Catholic household where we're all when we talk about spiritual matters. The Irish are very open about death. We talk about death an awful lot. But my father's a scientist and my elder brother's a scientist. So we talked about science as well. And I always grew up feeling that science and religion were happy bedfellows, really, not particularly contradictory. There's middle ground. So I think for the crime, I'm a big believer that not only do you write out your anxiety, but that's where you get your darkness out. So crime writers are often nice people because all their darkness is out on paper. It's the romance writers you've got to watch, apparently. And then, so I was really interested in the morality of technology. And, like in Jurassic Park, just because you could, doesn't mean you should. And I think scientists, as we know with cloning, for instance. They would they would go as far as they can go, and why wouldn't they? You know, they want to experiment, they want to try stuff, they want to pioneer, but there has to be people questioning that sort of morality and holding them back a bit. So I think I come from quite a strange cross-genre life, a cross-genre family where we're science and religion, and those two things blend together. I would like to see myself as a crime thriller writer with a twist of tech, but obviously there are sci-fi elements in it. And I wonder, does that put some people off sometimes? I think I struggle to find myself.
I was going to mention that. I mean, how do you attempt to attract an audience when you have so many genres that mix into one? Was there a plan to do that, or was it just this is what it is and accept it or don't accept it?
Well, the difficulty was, to go back to that, what you just said at the end, you can only be yourself, and this is what I am, and this is what I've got. So I have to write this story because that was the story that was going to come out of me. Do you know what I mean? I get frustrated with booksellers because they're going to go, well, where are we going to put the book on the crime thriller, the sci-fi? No, booksellers, you don't get to choose. You know, it's not your shelves that get to choose. It's what people want to read. It's what people want to read. And I think, you know, I'm a bit tired of kind of police procedural. I mean, I still love it on the telly. I love Line of Duty. I love fresh takes on things. But we need to trust the reader that they can enjoy a genre with a flavour to it, with a bit of seasoning, with a bit of a twist. And so, I said I've got a bit of a trans-genre identity crisis because when I, with the publisher for Witness X, when they saw my second book, they said it's too sci-fi for us because they'd chosen a different direction. So they passed me up to Galance, and Galance said it's not sci-fi enough. So they've actually left me dangling for a bit. But, you know, I think as Witness X kind of does quite well, somebody will take me on along the line. It's a matter of faith. Yeah.
I'm sure
it kind of reminds me of sort of like an episode of Black Mirror in that way, in terms of like it's taking a society that's not that far away from us.
Yeah.
And doing something really clever with it as well, in terms of, you know, being able to see inside the mind of the victims and all this sort of stuff. Like, just the whole concept is just fresh and original. So how did that come about in terms of that concept? Did it just come to you in the middle of the night, like it does for Stephen King or whatever, and you wrote it down on a notepad? Or
here's the magic formula, the X factor, right, is the what if. Right? Take any story you want to write and then just go, well, what if? Okay. So so you know this book I wrote when I was on maternity leave, yeah? And then I pimped myself out to quite a few agents. Actually 12 agents, right? And half of them have got good feedback. 2 of them wanted to represent me, so I went with one. Anyway, so she pimped me out around the publishing world, and nobody wanted to buy the book, right? Well, you know, can I tell you, when you start writing, you think every single level is a plateau that you reach and you crash, right? So I go, I need an idea. I've got an idea. Okay. I need to write a book. I've written a book. Okay. I need to get an agent. I've got an agent. Okay. And then it keeps on going. It keeps on going. I've got to get a publisher. Okay. I've got a publisher. I've got to get another contract, right? So anyway, so we went around all the publishers and nobody wanted it. But Sammy Eads at Trapeze Orion, who is really, really one of the bright stars of the publishing world, she says, and it was Dragon's Den, she says, well, I don't like that, but I like you. What else have you got?
Wow.
So I had to just pull an idea out of thin air, and then we ran with it. And then I had 18 months of absolute sheer terror. Imagine somebody with anxiety disorder, sheer terror of having 18 months to write a book that, you know, you didn't have a book. So that was really thrilling. And my learning curve was outrageous. But I haven't got a degree in English. I haven't got a degree in English literature. I don't have any creative writing courses under my belt at all. But just being with those women in that situation, I learned and learned and learned. Really did.
Yeah. We've got to jump back to a question because we were so involved in that conversation, we've skipped ahead. But we were just talking about sort of the theme of your story and the sort of concept of it. But can we just, a very quick description for people who may not know what that story is?
Oh, great. The Witness X story.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so basically it's about a guy has been 14 years ago, there's a serial killer, he's arrested, he's put into jail, and everyone's great, it's done. Then a body turns up in exactly the same MO, and the question is, have we got the right guy? So Kyra is a neuropsychologist, and she has invented a machine which can read memories directly from the witnesses' brains. And this came about because I am obsessed with the idea of truth. What is truth? Is there an objective truth? Or is there not an objective truth? Is it all just down to how everyone sees things? So your brain makes up the story. That's what we do. We can see, 2 and 2 makes 5. We see various things and we put it together as a narrative so we can understand it. We're also very much a prisoner to our own upbringings, our own experiences, our own biases, our own prejudice. So we have all these things going on, and then we don't always have the facts. Mm-hmm. So the point is, as a human being, we actually can't tell the objective whole truth. And that frustrates me, and it kind of plays in my mind, and it makes me think about all sorts of things. And I hate liars, but I also understand that sometimes people just can't tell the truth because they don't know. So all these things kind of came together, and I said, well, what if there was? Totally love brains. Brains are amazing. Brains are so good. But so it was this case of, can we? What if somebody could extract the truth from the witnesses' brains and then solve the crime? And obviously in Witness X, Kyra, her own sister was a victim of the Misper murderer, and so she has a vested interest on a personal level, but also on a scientific level as well.
It really is a great concept, and it's mentioned in some sort of review somewhere, I can't remember exactly where, that altered carbon was a reference. And your cover certainly gives me that vibe. And for the ones that are watching on the screen, you can see in the background, that canvas in the background is in fact the cover to Witness X, and it is fantastic. How much sort of input did you have on the design of the cover? And, the upside down world on there is very intriguing. Was that a choice of yours, or was that kind of from cover designers, publishers?
CJ, I'm teaching, I've got kids, I'm writing a book. Have I got time to bloody well design the front cover of a bloody book? No, I don't.
You're doing your own trailers now. Come on,
I know. Can you believe me doing a trailer? I am so proud of myself. I feel like a 5-year-old who's just drawn a nice picture for my mum.
Halo says it's a hot cover with a W.
Hot, thank you.
Cover.
Well, I was really surprised. I had no input at all. I trusted the art departments. I thought, you've got a bunch of people there who know what they're doing. And when they came up with that, I was like, whoa,
yeah.
Because you expect something very dark, don't you? You think, murder books, crime thrillers, blah, blah, something dark. And I really, really loved it. I think it's fantastic. And the tagline, her mind is the scene of the crime, I think that was shit. I don't know who came up with that, but I think that was really genius. I'm so jealous I didn't, I didn't come up with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it
fantastic.
Reminds me of that falling man photo that's really iconic, but
yeah,
it's a great cover. Whoever did that is,
it's even got a touch of Inception amazing about it as well.
Yeah, and Mad Men. Obviously with him falling and that sort of, the city in the background. Love it.
It's definitely intriguing, and that is one of the biggest issues that you have is, first of all, getting people captive about the cover, and that does that straight away. Then the blurb, obviously the story that you've written is fantastic and very intriguing.
Thank you, boys. You're totally fanboying over this. Keep it coming.
So anyway, we're gonna push on for the writing community questions, Chris. So we'll get those done, and then we will be asking questions from the community. So guys, start sending those in for us.
So the writing community sort of staple chat show questions that we have. The first one is, if you could take any character from fiction, be it books, TV, film, and I can say this now because you're not American, have a crack at it and make that character your own, and do whatever you wanted with that character, what character would you pick and why?
Oh, Chris, that is such a hard question. So it's got to be out of a book.
TV
film or TV. It's entirely up to you.
Do you know what? When you're thinking about that, Chris, a question we asked this a few weeks ago, someone said, what in real life, is in take them out and do something with them, which I think must become a question one day.
Yeah, it's a unique take on it, but we mean fictional in terms of you writing with that character.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I really can't answer that. But what I would love to do is to go to dinner with Hannibal and Will Graham.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'd love to
That's
go
a
to
good
dinner with
answer.
them. Yeah.
The food would be amazing, but you...
And the conversation, come on, it'd be so good.
You'd question it afterwards, but you'd enjoy it whilst you were there.
If you had...
Hey, if it tastes good, who cares?
If you had one question to ask Hannibal, what would you ask him?
Oh, probably what's the best way to make a steak? I'd probably ask him something about cookery. I think Will's more interesting as a character. I think his neuroticism and his sensitivities and his isolation, I think that make him a really interesting character. You know, yeah.
Sarah, what do you make of Thomas Harris in terms of, he did 4 great books. Well, I'm going to say 3.5 great books. And then he came recently with a new book. What's your take on someone like that? Someone who writes a really good series and then doesn't do anything for ages, brings out a book. I feel like he brought one out because he had to, and then doesn't necessarily, you know, hit the mark again. Like, what's your take on that in terms of...
Oh, welcome to the human race. Welcome to the human race. You know, like we try, we fail, we try harder, we fail better, we keep going. We get told what to do by our editors, and you know, sometimes they say bring out a book, or you know, publishers don't always make the right choices. I mean, I think Witness X is doing really well. I mean, I'm quite pleased with myself because, without blowing my own trumpet, I've had 8 bestseller flags, you know, in 8 different categories, which really surprised me. And but my publisher dropped me. You know, she didn't renew my contract. So, and they can make you write books, or they can say, "Oh, don't do it like this, do it like that." So I don't know. You know, people have to pay the mortgage. People have to pay the mortgage, and so I don't know.
So if they said to you, "We love the world of Witness X. We'd like, you know, this is a different publisher now, obviously, but we love the world of Witness X. We'd like a few more stories from you." Maybe make it a bit of a trilogy, not necessarily with the same characters, but that the whole concept and the idea. Would that be something that you'd be interested, or are you?
You know, yeah, I actually really would, and I think series sell very well. When you want to go to a publisher and you say I've got 3 books based on this, I think it sells really well. And initially, actually, I can't talk about the ending, but initially I'd had a different ending. I'd had a different ending, and it was suggested maybe don't do that. But if I can just talk very briefly about my next project, the project I'm working on at the moment. Somebody said, you know, about brains, and I love brains. My cousin, my elder brother was a forensic scientist for a while. And when we were kids, you know, we grew up in the 80s, and we used to have murder case files, you know, the magazine once a week, and we'd read about serial killer. I mean, this is what it was like when we were kids, you know, and your parents, you know, never mind health and safety, read what you want. My little brother is a lecturer in criminal justice, and my cousin's a neuroscientist, and I just like make stuff up and look after kids for a living, obviously. But so I'm just very interested in the brain and in psychology, and I've done a few. You know, this sounds really crap, but you know, the vouchers. And you can get like an online criminal psychology course for about 12 quid. Honestly, it's worth having a little rummage around, you know, having a rummage around. Yeah. So I'm working, my next book is quite similar to Witness X. It's about a psychiatrist who tries to cure psychopathy with synthetic empathy. Because I think if you look at the brain, again, the way sort of anxiety is a neurological situation, psychopathy is a neurological disorder, and we don't really understand a lot about the brain, considering how smart we are. We don't really understand how it works, or the way all the different parts work together and whatever. And again, what if it could be that somebody understood the brain so much that we knew the areas, and we knew how to approach it, and we knew how to deal with it, and we could actually cure psychopaths. So I don't know why I started talking about this, but yeah. So I know, going back to, in a way, it's very similar to Witness X, and I think I found myself as a writer because I know what my passions are, what my interests are. Yeah. And I was, you know, I was chatting to Joanne Harris, and I said, you know, how different does your second book have to be? And she said, people like the same but different. So I would probably now have found my niche, probably be the same but different. But I would definitely write more in the witness X because I like the characters, and I'd be interested to see where they go.
Nice.
Fantastic. One more question before we jump on to the other half, and that is, if you could take any story, again, we'll open this to TV, film, or literature, and change the ending to it.
Stop. Seven.
What do you mean
Seven.
change the ending to that?
Film 7. I hate the end of that. I always stop it like sort of 5 minutes before the end, and
I love the ending to that film.
Pretend they have a HEA. Pretend they have a happy ever after.
Yeah.
That is the best villain line of ever.
Oh, it is bad. I agree with Sarah. I'm gonna side with Sarah on this. Like a happier ending to that would have been.
Oh my god! But honestly, that is one of the things you can watch, and the ending is just verbal. Not giving spoilers if you haven't seen it, unlucky. But just he says one line, and it makes you want to turn it off. And it's not graphic, it's not visual, and just that powerful word and that sense.
Talking of which, I tell you which film I saw, and it's an older film. It's called Dead Men's Shoes.
Yes.
And you know when you see a film and you go, God, I wish I would have written that.
Yes.
Why didn't you? But that's heartbreaking. That's so heartbreaking.
If anyone hasn't seen Dead Man's Shoes, it's a British cult classic.
Watch it. Paddy Considine.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, heartbreaking. So good.
Proper British cult classic, that film.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the second half, because we're pushing on and we love the conversations, but we got to kind of keep it slightly tuned in. What we're going to do now is do a writing community family member. So someone that follows us on Twitter, and they've got quite a small following. We're going to give them a shout out via GIFs. So I'll play a little promo trailer, but in the meantime, Sarah, if you can think of something you really like, it can be anything. It can be a GIF of serial killers or dogs or whatever. We'll play this trailer, and when we come back, we'll send them a GIF.
Do I have to find a GIF?
No, you don't have to send them a GIF.
You don't have to. You don't have to find it. We type in the person's name, and then we'll send it. And anyone who's watching, they're into the habit of doing it, so they'll send it as well.
On a side note, I've just seen the chat, and Halo says, turn Peppa Pig into a serial killer. I don't know what in reference that is to, but I love it. And Jody says, I love Dead Man's Shoes.
Oh, so good.
So well done. So what this means is this person on screen right now, HPJ Goodwin. I love this Twitter name, @of_mice_and_hen. So @of mice and hen with underscores. Former chef, teacher, also celebrating. Winemaker.
Ooh.
And corporate droned turned writer, explorer, and vagabond. Recent arrival to US to be with my partner. That's very romantic on Valentine's weekend.
It is. Do you know how many of mice and something there is? There's of mice and Chen, of mice and Mitch, of mice and Mud, of mice and Meh.
Mice and hen. But this guy, he's got 38 followers, and the fact that he moved to America to be with his partner is beautiful. And a teacher enjoying holidays, makes wine. Come on, we've got to support this guy.
He's got the skills.
He's got the skills. So, Lythe says she's already following this person. So, Sarah, what do we want to send this person in terms of a GIF?
I think it's got to be a dog, because dogs are loyal and faithful and loving, and they're great company. You have got to, when you travel with them, though, you've got to put them through quarantine, haven't you? So, but it's shorter these days. So it's got to be a lovely dog.
I don't know. I've never taken a dog abroad. And what do you mean by quarantine with a dog?
Then they have to go into like a little. They have to go into quarantine before you take them into the. If you wanted to go to America with a dog, you'd have to keep him somewhere for a while, wouldn't you? Or has that changed? Oh, look at here. Yes. The dog's saying, say what?
Say what?
Yeah, that was in reference to quarantine. It's like, what?
Say what?
Yeah, so just reference the Writing Community Chat Show. Welcome to the family. And he did share, actually, I saw that he shared the tweet earlier of the show. So you never know. He may tune in, maybe tuned in right now. You don't know. If you are, let us know. So welcome to the family, I guess. and enjoy your dog gifts. So we got a couple of questions that have been sent in. If you have any more, please send them in to us, and we will indeed ask Sarah these questions. So writing community question time, the time where you can ask us questions. I've got one random one lined up, and then I'll go back through the chat. So this is a great one. If peanut butter wasn't called peanut butter, what would it be called?
It would be called crunchy goodness, because I don't do the smooth one. I have the crunchy one with jam on bread.
So
nice.
Peanut butter and jelly, that is in America, right?
It is. And you know what? It's so good, you know. It took a while for me to get brave enough to try it. Like when they have, when you have honey on sausages or maple syrup on bacon, give it a go. It's like my cross-genre thing. I told you, it's meat and sweet.
Honey on sausages?
Oh, yeah, honey and mustard on sausages in the oven. Wowza.
I know people cook like a ham in Coca-Cola. That's the thing, right? A cherry Coke as well. Yeah. Okay, so a question from Anya Pavil. Is there any topic stroke crime that is off limits to you? Something you wouldn't engage with?
That's a good question.
I tell you what I wouldn't do, Anya. I don't like women being seen as objects and murder victims just being seen as objects. And I tried very hard in Witness X to present people's personhood, including the killer. I wanted to very much show an empathy to their personhood because, everyone deserves respect, regardless of who they are. They might need locking up, but they deserve respect and to be treated like a human being. And I think things like psychopathy and serial killers is on the human spectrum. It's part of what it means to be human. But I also think that there's too many books where women have just like they're 23 and naked and dead, and it's like not acceptable. So yeah. The other thing that kind of I obviously get really, really wound up about things like pedophiles. So if I was going to write about them, it would be in a way which my little what if Sarah, 7-year-old happy girl, wants to make the world lovely, that I dealt with them in a way that I could bring justice and put them away or treat them or something, So I wouldn't really write about stuff like that, really, no.
Sarah, with the paedophile element, one of the best books I've ever read crime-wise was A Poet by Michael Connolly, and in that, one of the characters has a preference to like smaller children, and he instantly makes you hate him and then root more for obviously the good guy in the story. So would you be tempted to do it in that manner? So you didn't go into a great deal of detail.
Yeah, for sure.
But the character did have that element, so you rooted for the hero.
100%. And I say in the book, excuse me, in the book I'm writing at the moment, it's about my version of the criminal justice world and how people in various tiers would be dealt with and looked after. And so I would make a brief comment about it, but I wouldn't get too involved in it. And it would certainly be in a way that I'm dealing with it in the way I wished it would be dealt with. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, good answer. Yeah. Jodie Cook, hello to you. How would you juggle work, writing, and the parented load? What advice would you be giving to other people that struggle to fit all of it in?
Do you know, it's very, very hard. And when the boys were younger, I felt a lot of guilt. I did feel quite guilty. But I think the thing is that when you're with the kids, you make them feel as loved as possible and have fun. I think I am lucky to have a husband who gets really involved, is really hands-on. And I would say you've got to be, and I was rubbish at this, you've got to have really good time management. And I know it's horrible, but I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I write for 2 hours because I love coffee, and I wake up and I want loads of coffee, and I have time to myself. But I'm a morning lark, you might be a night owl. So it's about really taking time where you say these 2 hours are mine, and mum has to do this. And make sure it's a time. As I say, if I get up earlier, then I'm not so tired. I couldn't write in the night if I tried because I'm so tired. So it's about time management. It's about boundaries. It's about other people supporting you. And if you don't have that support, you can't do it. So, you've got to be strong and say, I need this. You've got to give it to me. Hopefully they will.
Yeah.
I agree completely with that comment. And there's a lot of people on here who have been on the show as well that have their own sort of way to deal with things. Like you mentioned, you get up early. Some people write, wait till everyone goes to bed in the house and then starts writing. So you've really got to find out what works for you.
Yeah, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
play to your strengths. Yeah.
Sarah, with that time being so precious, do you plan it before you're about to do it, or do you just go into it and just go, do you know what, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, I'm going to write, even if I can't think of anything, I'm going to go and get it done? Or do you try and plan it?
I think a lot of writing isn't about pen and paper. A lot of writing is about thinking and observing. And so, you get that right. And then by the time you sit down to write, it floods out. I'm quite lucky that I've never felt that I'm forcing anything, because I think I've done my pondering beforehand.
A question from Lyth. How do you write a book in 18 months? What does the schedule even look like?
Oh God, Leah, it's I would say we often have, because as I say, we're a big Irish Catholic household, so we have mad St Paddy's parties and we have crazy Halloween parties, for Samhain. So for 18 months there were no parties. There was no parties, there was no going out. I did go quiet for a while, and it's just a case of, as I say, because I'm lucky, I work on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm in school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I come home and I do my schoolwork, their school days. I drop the kids off at school, or the big one walks himself. And on Tuesdays, Thursdays, I write. And on a Saturday or a Sunday, in between marking and trying to talk to my family, just, hey, this is Mum's face. Do you remember Mum? I do it, but I enjoy it and I want to do it. So it's kind of, I've swapped a lot of fun time for writing time, because it's so important. But you have to remember, you've got to see your pals. You've got to get out and have a bit of a date night with the husband, or a film night with the family. You've got to make sure that you don't, because once those things go, you do lose, you can lose yourself a bit, can't you?
Absolutely. And you didn't mention going out. I mean, anyone remember that? I mean, it seems a world away. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. If you've got any more questions, guys, send them in. And there's some more random ones here we've got to ask before. And then there's a little game at the end, if you don't mind playing.
Ooh.
Well, I'm not a team player, to be honest.
Oh, no.
I'll give it a go.
You got to beat Chris. That's the aim of the game.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I beat Samantha last week and I beat Ian Rankin the week before. So I'm enjoying a winning streak at the moment.
Sarah can disrupt this, surely. So, okay, if magic was real, don't abuse me for that.
Invisibility, just stop. Invisibility. Oh, invisibility.
What would you do with invisibility?
Imagine the amount of and the quality of observation you would be able to do as a writer. Or I'd go Quicksilver, I'd do Speed, or I'd go Jean Grey and I'd do Mind. I'd do all the Marvel characters.
Well, there's a question. You clearly answered it, but DC or Marvel?
Oh, DC, no. I mean, although to say I do like Nolan's Batman, I do. I must admit, no. Marvel, all the way.
Have you seen the Invisible Man film, the recent one that's more of the thriller based?
Yes, I have.
Did you like that?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah.
I think it's got potential, because if the invisible, if you ask people what would they do with invisibility, there's probably a portion of people that would say get up to mischief. I mean,
well, Plato said if we were invisible, we'd do anything, which is one of the reasons why in Witness X, you can't do anything, because I can see exactly what you've been up to. So, so I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Pineapple on pizza.
Are you psychopathy? That's just sociopathy. That is. Shut up.
Yeah,
Shut up.
Shut up.
Well done,
I love that
Sarah.
response. Yeah.
You've truly told that, Chris.
Can I say, after saying that, I have been to a Brazilian restaurant and they grill the pineapple and then they grill the ham and they grill the meat, and that was good. So, sweetened meat, maybe, but...
Take it back. There you go.
Not a pizza.
What sport would be the funniest to add mandatory alcohol to?
Oh, my Lord. Sport and alcohol.
Javelin?
No, because they have accidents anyway.
Is snooker a sport? I don't even know that's a sport.
Technically.
Darts and snooker. They're pub-based sports, aren't they? So
Yeah,
you know
but
what?
people get better with darts in a pub by drinking, so it already happens.
Do you know, the answer to that will come to me tomorrow. But I do have a black belt in kickboxing.
Do you?
Wow.
That I got when I was somewhat younger, and that would be hilarious with too much alcohol. I mean, just be like a street fight in the pub on a Friday night, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? So maybe not.
Do you know what my answer to that is, Chris? I had to think about this earlier.
Go on.
Jockey.
Jockey?
Yeah, horse.
Oh,
horse
on a
jockey.
horse.
Yeah.
Oh no, you'd vomit.
Ooh.
Don't you
Can you
vomit?
imagine the Grand National?
They're small anyway, so them holding
Exactly.
their alcohol.
Oh, God,
The
do
Grand
it,
Na-
yeah.
A drunk Grand National would be hilarious.
Or what about motor car racing? That would be crazy on alcohol.
Ooh.
Imagine.
Yeah, I guess so.
The body count would be crazy.
Yeah, true.
Vince is on the chat. He says the Invisible Man. I
Lols.
didn't see it. Yeah.
Lols, Vince, hilarious. Hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
Even on the chat. Oh, Vince, that's awful. Drink driving bumper horses.
Bumper horses, nice.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Although, do you know what I always fancy doing? You know, when you take the kids, I don't know if you've got kids, when kids are little and you go to one of those soft play centres. I thought, imagine on Friday night, all the kids are out, all the adults are in, you know, load of ale. You would have such a laugh.
They do birthday parties there now for grown-ups, right?
Do they? I wouldn't want to clean it afterwards.
I mean, the insurance, I should imagine, is quite high, but yeah, that definitely be fun.
I think our generations, around our generations, maybe slightly older, loves that because of Funhouse. Do you remember Funhouse?
Oh, the book or the actual Funhouse in the. I remember the
Funhouse
book
TV show when you were kids.
Is that Noel Edmonds' Funhouse?
No, it wasn't Noel Edmonds. It was like Pat someone, and he had a big fro, and you drive like a go-kart around collecting prizes.
No, I think I'm too old for that. I remember the It's a Knockout when I was really small. Do you remember It's a Knockout? That would be amazing. Drunk doing that with my pals, that would be heaven.
What's the supermarket one? Do that drunk too. The shopping trolleys.
Have you not seen Bad Mums though? It's a Bad Mums, and they actually do that. They actually get drunk in the supermarket. It's amazing.
I've not seen that. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we get this game on, Chris?
Yeah, game on.
I'm waiting for someone to knock you off that perch now. You don't sound too confident there.
I've never been confident, to be honest, and I've been surprised when I've won. So I'm nervous about Sarah.
Sarah, this game is called Play Your Drafts Right, and you may find a similarity with that. Play Your Drafts Right and Play Your Cards Right. Very similar, but with book releases. Okay, here's a little intro. Newsflash. We just found out that the Funhouse guy was called Pat Sharp. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, Pat Sharp. That rings a bell now.
And Jodie says, I had a framed picture of Pat. He was my first crush.
Oh,
That hairstyle. Seriously?
Wow.
Couldn't gone from like New Kids on the Block or something. I mean, wow.
Love it.
Anyway, so let's find out the Friday books. So what we're doing is we start with a year and a book that was published on that year. And all you have to simply do is tell me whether your guess of when the next book was published, higher or lower, and give me a year. And the closest to the actual year will win a point. Yeah?
I'm nearly there. So you
Okay.
tell me a book.
Okay, so the first book that we're starting with, the starting book is
Okay,
50
okay,
Shades of Grey
okay.
by E.L. James, published 25th of March in 2011. You guys on the chat, welcome to play and let us know. So is this next book called Divergent by Veronica Roth higher or lower than 2011?
I'm going to go for higher. I'm probably wrong because all the films came out, but I'm going to go for higher.
Give us a year.
Or am I? I'm lying. I'm going to go lower. I'm going to go 2009.
2009?
So I am going to go higher. I'm going to go 2013.
Oh, God, that's what I would have done if I hadn't.
You can't say that.
2009. I'm sticking to 9. 999.
Okay. So 2009 versus 2013. It was published in February 28th of February 2012.
Yes.
As a point to Mr. Hooley.
Point on the board.
Yeah, there is 10 of these, so we've got plenty of time, Sarah. Don't worry about it. So we're in 2012 with The Divergent, and we now have All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Was that before or after 2012?
I'm going to go for higher 2014.
I'm
Okay.
going to say I'm going to say higher 2018, perhaps.
That's the big difference there, Mr. Hooley.
It seems quite recent in my mind for some reason.
It must have been the mullet. Anyway, so we were at 2012 with All the Light We Cannot See, and with Divergent. And this book, All the Lights We Cannot See, was published in 2014. So Sarah is absolutely on the money. We are 1-1.
That was the
people.
day before my birthday as well. Look, I'm on May the 7th. The day before my birthday.
Okay, there's a few people right on the chat. Okay, so we are in 2014, and now we are looking for 11/22/63 by Stephen King.
Oh, jeepers creepers.
Before 2014 or after 2014?
I mean, I'll go first, and I'll say 2016.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
I'm going to go 2017 because I don't know.
Plenty of cards right there. Just one above. So according to Goodreads, because I have been criticised before. This 11/22/63 by Stephen King was released in 2011.
Ooh.
So Mr. Hooley, loads earlier, wins a point there.
See, I always think of it at my age and when I read the book, so I obviously didn't read it when it first came out.
Well, my memory is kind of terrible with things like this, but they always say try and relate it to somewhere you were at the time, right? Okay, so 2011, moving on to City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. Before or after 2011?
I'm just going to go 2016. Again, I haven't got a clue. I'm going to show so much ignorance. 2016.
All I'm saying is I'm glad Chris plays this game because I haven't got a clue at all with these.
Yeah, I've never heard of this, so...
These are all basically on Goodreads. These are like top of the charts for this year or whatever. So they're known.
I mean, I'm sure it's very good. I just never... I'm going to go...
Have a guess.
2000... What did you say, Sarah?
16.
I'll say 17 just to make it interesting.
Ooh, okay. It is 2012, which means the point goes to Sarah, and we are 2-2.
And that's published the day after my birthday. Look at that. The day after my birthday.
Yeah. So going from 20...
like you did it on purpose.
I did that much research. Yeah.
I tried to get born. I wanted to get born on May the 4th, and my son and my little
that would
boy.
have been amazing.
Well, he was born on May the 3rd, and so he hasn't forgiven me because he's not been born on May the 4th.
Yeah, you could have holded, holded's not the right word there, but you could have held out.
Yeah, could have tried, but no.
Good authorage there, Chris. 2012 we were in, and now we're looking for Unbroken, a World War II story of survival by Laura Hillenbrand.
I'm going to go mad. I'm going to go 2017 because I reckon that's a sort of something that the publisher would be into more recently.
It was made. Was that the one made into a film? Because I'm sure Angelina Jolie directed a film called Unbroken about a story of World War II, and that was very good.
Right, hang on a minute. What's the year?
We were in 2012,
and I've said 17.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, just to make it interesting, I'm going to go with 2010.
Okay, that's a big twist there, Chris, compared to 2017. So it was released in 2010.
Oh, Chris, you're absolutely hammering me here. This is.
Did you Google that?
Did I? I've never even heard of that, mate. That was just a guess.
Seriously, has no one seen Broken? No, I'm thinking of Unbreakable.
No, is that the superhero one?
Yeah, Samuel and Bruce.
Oh no, it was Unbroken, and it was about it was a true story about the Olympian from America who was captured in World War II. It's a great story. Okay, so we're in 2010, and we're looking for "Go the F to Sleep" by Adam Mansbach.
I have read this book, and
Yes.
I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm probably gonna go. God, that's so close to my little boy.
It's a great book as well.
I'm gonna go for 2012.
Okay.
See, I thought 2013.
You going with that, Chris?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So the answer to that is we were in 2010. Sarah's 2012, Chris 2013. It was released on the December 6th, 2011. So that is a point back. And we are
got
back.
2 points. How many points has Chris got? About 7.
We are now 3-3.
Really?
Yes.
Come on.
Making it interesting.
1-0
This
to
reminds
Chris.
you of Turkey. One night in Istanbul. This reminds me of. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
We've got 1, 2, 3,
2011. Come on.
3, 4 left. Okay.
Right then.
So we are on 2011, December 6th, and we are looking for Horns by Joe Hill.
Oh, I love that book.
And what were we? 2011, were we?
Yes.
2014. I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2012.
The answer for
she's
Horns
won as
by
well.
Joe Hill is the 1st of March 2010.
Ah!
Sarah takes it again.
Damn it.
She now takes the lead, Chris Hooley,
Oh,
with
I can't
3 to
believe
go.
that.
Okay.
That's a great book, by the way, if you've not read it.
Is that the one that...
It's a film with Daniel
Daniel Radcliffe, yeah.
Radcliffe,
Okay.
yeah. I've seen
I
the
was gonna
film.
say.
Joe Hill, like, the film's not... It's all right, but the books, all of his
Books
books
are
great.
always better. Books are always
Yeah, definitely.
So we're keeping it kind of close to the family, and we're looking...
This next gets made into by Netflix, in which case I don't care. It'll be brilliant. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you were looking for Dr. Sleep by Stephen King after Joe Hill's book 2010.
I'm going to say 2010, Joe Hill.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, 1st of March 2010.
All right.
According to
I'm going to
Goodreads.
say 2016, Dr. Sleep.
Oh gosh. What year are we in now? I'm gonna go 17. I would have done yeah, I think you've got that one, Chris. Possibly. No, 17.
Okay. This is the best game the closest game we've played so far, because the answer is 2013, which gives Chris the point. And we are 4-4 going into the last 2. And I haven't got a tiebreaker.
There's no shame if I lose now. No shame if I lose.
There's no shame at all. So we are at 2013 with Dr. Sleep, and we are looking for the year of The Scorched Trails by James Dashner.
And what we're in 2013, did you say?
Yeah. We're in 2013.
See, I think that is a reaction to the Maze Runner and stuff like that. I'm trying to place that.
It's the second book in the Maze Runner series.
Oh, so it's not even a reaction. It's part of the Maze Runner.
It is.
I thought you were sounding really clever then, Chris, and you just blew it.
I know, and it was part of the Maze Runner. So it's the second one. I'm going to say 2016. Maybe it took 18 months to write.
I'm going to go for... What year? Does it matter what... I'm going to go for 13. Because they made it into films as well, didn't they? So they must have had time to make it into films.
They did indeed. So 2013, Sarah, 2016, Chris. The answer is October the 12th, 2010.
Oh.
So we are going 5-4, Sarah, into the last question, which means Mr. Hooley can only draw this series.
Oh, wounded.
Which means I'll have to quickly Google a tiebreaker. But this last book we're looking for, we went from 2010. We're looking for Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson.
I'm going for 14.
Okay.
2014. I don't know.
I'm going to say 2016.
He's smirking.
I'm smirking. I'm
He's
excited.
smirking.
The answer is...
Did you get it right?
The answer is 2011. Sarah wins.
He always smirks when I lose.
I'm a div, Chris. If I can win that, you must be super div.
Oh, wow.
6 points to 4. Sarah wins the quiz. You're off your perch, my friend.
I know. And I beat Ian Rankin and Samantha Shannon as well. So...
Well, you've got to reclaim it next week, surely.
Yeah,
but for now, well done, Sarah. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much indeed.
You are the reigning queen of the show.
Well done, Sarah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Brilliant. So we are a good 10 minutes past the hour, but that is completely fine. We've had a fantastic time. Sarah, before we wrap this up and finish the show, can we let people know where they can find your work and how they can buy your books and your websites and all that business?
So first of all, Twitter is one of my favourite places. So come and chat to me on Twitter. That's
Yeah.
at SE Moorhead. And my website is semoorhead.com. And you can buy the book in all your lovely independent bookstores and obviously on Amazon. I'm only 99p on the Kindle one at the moment, but I'm also coming to America on the 16th of March. So I'll be in America and I'll be in beautiful Canada at the beginning of March. So look out for me there, and please leave me some nice shiny celestial symbols on Amazon so that I can so that people think I'm okay. Validation.
Celestial symbols.
Stars.
If Valentine's weekend, guys, if you're having a Valentine's weekend, enjoy it and be nice and, relax. And if you're a teacher, enjoy next week.
Oh, yes.
All that good stuff.
Please send me messages and follow me on Twitter so I can follow you back as well, please.
Yeah, you went very much sex voice there, Chris. You went very smooth.
Yeah, very well, Dahl.
Everyone's having a nice Valentine's.
We will leave links for your show and your website, by the way. I've had a good look around earlier. It was fantastic. Really is good. It's laid out.
It's a bit more work, but I'm quite pleased with it.
It's laid out very well.
Thank you very much. I did it all myself, You can learn. You see, I say this, if you read a book, you can learn how to do anything. Click on, have a go. Just, don't be shy.
Well, so Sarah, before we go, can you show us where, because it's Valentine's weekend, can you show us where the magic happens? When I say, when I say magic, I mean writing.
Chris, right. I thought you were going to say something else then.
No.
First of all, what you mean? Well, that's my piano desk there, which as you can see, the strings are lit up and it's got all my favourite books on. But I also have, if you look on, I can't show you because it's full of junk. I have this amazing desk on my website. My blog is called A Desk of One's Own. And just dead quick, I work in a convent. There was a desk on the stage for 30 years that was used as a prop. It got moved up to the staff room. And they were throwing it out, and I skip-dipped it, love it. And I found out that it was down in Guernsey with the nuns' convent when the Nazis took over. So my desk has been sat up by nuns and Nazis, and now it is my beautiful writing desk that is beneath me as we speak. So have a little look at that and see what you think. It's a really good story, yeah.
That is brilliant.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
See, worth asking the high-quality questions, Chris.
Do you know what, Chris, though? I honestly thought it's Valentine's Day.
What the heck?
It's time to get out. It's time to get out. What? What are you asking?
Why? What are you talking about?
So, guys, honestly, look after yourselves. We will see you on Wednesday next week. And Sarah will leave the links to everything in the descriptions and the podcast and the YouTube channels. Support the authors that support the show. So, Ash Knight, thank you for supporting the show today. And please check out her book. Yeah, Chris is looking. The Gravity of... what's it called?
Shooting Stars.
Shooting Stars, thank you. It's very small in the corner. Thanks, Chris. So please check that out and support them. And it's been a wonderful night again. And follow Sarah on Twitter. We'll leave that link too.
And buy Witness X because you won't regret it. It's an amazing book.
It is. Yeah. Thank you, guys. And look after yourselves. Happy Valentine's Day. And
bye, guys.
thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye now.